And thank you, Curtis, for inviting me to speak here today, and thank you all for your attention. So, this is just an overview of my presentation this morning. So let's get right into the theme here, patient-centric drug development. As you know, it involves two aspects: knowing and understanding needs of the patient, what exactly the target population or disease condition, or what are the factors that would impact compliance with respect to delivering the medication. So again, I'm not going to read all these details here. As you could see, my talk would focus today mostly on softgel related, how softgel could be a patient-centric dosage form and how you could utilize softgel to address the patient factors and how you design your drug product. So as you may know, that softgel is a very versatile solid dosage form, the most versatile dosage form that I could think of. Reason when I say that is the facts, what you see on this slide. You could administer drug through literally every orifice in the body, and there are products out there already on the market. Whether it is oral, whether it is ophthalmic, whether it is nasal, topical, vaginal, rectal, and otic, that is not shown here, the eardrops, for example. So again, in addition to delivering through multiple routes of administration, it also makes it amenable for putting products that are high potent molecules or hormones or cytotoxics for delivering low or high potent vitamin D analogs as a few other examples to note. So some recent advances from the time the Arpisher developed in 1933, some 90 years ago, the softgel encapsulation process. Catalent and the various names before Catalent became the name owning this technology, it evolved, continues to evolve, and we continue to innovate in the space. As you could see, there are so many variants of the softgel, both for immediate release and also for control release. The most recently approved control release dosage form using our combination of non-gelatin based VeggieCap or OptiShell, what we call, for calcifediol. And again, when I talk about patient-centric, I want to point out something very interesting with calcifediol. Calcifediol is not a new molecule. It's already there on the market as an IR product. But in stage 4 kidney patients, this works as an extended release formulation. You give IR, it doesn't. And that you could read the pharmacokinetics behind it and why so. And that's where we are talking about the patient-centric dosage form, like how you take advantage of some of the attributes or capabilities of this, and why softgel, for example, could you deliver a 0.25 microgram with uniform dosage for control release? It's very challenging. That's where the softgel comes into play. Then we also have seen an enteric-coated prescription omega fatty acid approved by FDA. That's again something new, even though that company, for other reasons, has never launched that product, but it was approved, just so you know. Dual chamber, that's something I have more details later on in my presentation. Again, this is some new innovation with patent protection where you could put two ingredients that are incompatible together, and at the point of use, you could combine those from the same capsule. That's something unique. And I'll talk about some of these other things like tablet in capsule. I have a detailed 2-3 slides that I would talk about where you have a tablet inside the capsule, soft gel, where if you want to take the synergistic molecules like let's say a omega-3 fatty acid with a statin combination in a single dose to ensure patient compliance. Seamless soft gels is another unique capability within soft gels where there is no sealing. You see with typically those who are familiar with the soft gel, you have there are two like hermetically sealed structure you could see, but with these seamless capsules there is no seam at all. It is formed in situ, so there is no seal at all with that, and it has its own advantages. And I'll also talk briefly about the dual control release soft gel, something new that we are working on. And here is another example of utilizing soft gel as a dosage form to go from, the conventional oral route soft gel. Now, let's say you have a molecule that requires protection from, say, first pass, and you want to do pregastric delivery, or you want to do nasal delivery. For example, there are some molecules through oral route, their bioavailability is barely 3 to 6%. And if you do through nasal, it's almost 40%. And how do you do it? Very convenient way without complicated device system, right? A simple example here that you see on the slide, this has the potential to do that. We have a couple of projects that we are working on utilizing this approach for RX products. As I talked about already briefly, the left side, the dual chamber soft gel, we already have this on the market, commercialized, it's patent protected. Of course, this is more suitable for topical applications where you could encapsulate two different actives that are incompatible, two liquids or suspensions in the same capsule. At the point of use, you just remove the neck or the twist off, what we call, and you squeeze out the liquids and use. And on the right side is the seamless, what we call Optigel Micro, because these are so tiny, and literally they are like your non-pedal seeds or pellets with 20 milligram of fill. The example that you see there of the picture is actual product in our Japanese market of fish oil. Instead of 1 gram large horse pill, here the Japanese patients and customers prefer very small capsules. So you have 40 of those or 50 of those in a sachet to deliver the same amount of fish oil that you deliver with one large capsule. And these are seamless capsules. There is no seam on those. And you could also use these for coating, delayed release, and we have some projects we are working for some customers where you could coat them, layer them with different types of coats and put them into a stick pack. So very convenient way of doing liquids. Of course, you might be wondering, why would you do this? Because we have simple non-pedal seeds or sugar beads that you could coat. But the beauty with this is you could do liquids also. You are delivering the liquid at the end of the day. That's the beauty. Some more examples of late, what we have seen when we say patient-centric dosage form. I thought this is a good example to share with you today, because we have 70% of our launches from one site in Germany in the last 2-3 years, all in stick pack, and for a good reason. You could use it for pediatric, geriatric, to put large volumes of material that you could pour into a liquid and mix it and drink. So again, it's nothing new. What I'm trying to say here is that it's being leveraged more frequently these days. Then going back to soft gel itself, again, these are basic stuff. I'm not going to delve too much into it. This slide enumerates all the advantages of typical soft gel, and also how you take advantage of these when you design your drug product. That's what the take-home message from this slide is. From easy to swallow, even with a large pill, let's take, for example, a 1 gram tablet versus taking a 1 gram soft gel is much easier and patient preferred. There's a lot of research in that space where there were surveys done by companies to show that out of all the oral solids, soft gel is on the top of the preferred dosage forms for that reason. All right. So, as I said, in the last 90 years from the time R.P. Sharon invented soft gel, here are some examples of what Catalent did. I counted there are about 13 different versions for different applications. Out of the 13 that you see on this slide, 8 of them have already become commercialized and some at advanced stage of development. I want to particularly point out here to one is the delayed release using OptiShell, which is quite a complex release profile that it meets within 2 hours this much, within 4 hours or 8 hours this percent amount to be released. And it uses a platform where a combination of lipophilic and hydrophilic matrix as the release controlling mechanism inside the capsule. Then I've pointed out already about coated enteric soft gels that have been approved, first FDA approved RX product in that space, and also of course several IR products for bioavailability enhancement using what my colleague Ellie spoke about yesterday, lipid-based drug delivery. There are dozens of products that have been commercialized utilizing that technology. So, moving on, I would spend more time on this particular new technology. When I say this new technology, I want to clarify a couple of things. This is using a biopolymer or like a pectin. Other companies have introduced this a long time ago. It's not like we are the first ones to do this, but the difference with our technology is to really address and make it suitable for pharmaceutical product usage. Whatever other companies did in the past was more for nutraceutical space, where if you meet pH 1.2, it is intact for an hour, good to go. No. Truly speaking, if you want an enteric delivery and if you really want to protect the molecule, must be protected up to at least pH 4 or 5 in majority of the cases, especially if you want to utilize it for pharmaceutical applications. And that's what the differentiating technology that we have within that space. And we have several patent applications filed, at least about 8 or 9 applications pending on that technology. The examples that the pictures that you see there are actual capsules with some pharmaceutical fills in them. You could make them clear capsules, or you could color them, you could print them, and if I tell you, you like differentiating, can you say these are regular soft gels or delayed release? You can't identify. There is no way to identify. In other words, it's built in. It's not a two-step process in terms of manufacturing. It's a single step. You encapsulate like any soft gel, because your pectin is incorporated into the gelatin itself at the time of manufacturing. So typical enteric coated or delayed release capsules involve two-step manufacturing process where you first make the capsules and then take them for coating. Here, you don't need to do that. It's built in. When the capsules are dried, they are already ready to go. So, as I pointed out, what are some attributes we really wanted to have, unlike, especially if you want to take a pectin-based soft gel and make it suitable for pharmaceutical applications, it has to be much more robust than just staying intact at pH 1.2 for an hour. So we tested typical both USP and EP. It's going and above and beyond that. They use just 0.1 normal acid. If it is USP, it is 1 hour. If it is EP, it is 2 hours. Disintegration or dissolution, right? So we tested in presence of enzyme to see if there is any impact. Our product performs quite well. We designed it in such a way that it withstands the presence of pepsin. And we also tested in fasted state simulated gastric fluid, which is much more difficult media for capsules to survive compared even to the simulated gastric fluid with pepsin, because the fasted state simulated gastric fluid has surfactants and other enzymes in it beyond pepsin. Therefore, if the product survives in that condition, it can perform much better in vivo. We also tested, like as you are aware, FDA guidance, there's a guidance for modified release dosage forms that it has to meet the 10, 20, and 40% ethanol criteria, that there is no dose dumping. We also tested for that criteria, and our product meets that criteria as well. And here are some few dissolution profiles for the next 4 or 5 slides. I'll just show you. We not only did the disintegration test, but we also did the dissolution test with a model drug where we showed that it is intact for 2 hours in the acid with or without enzyme, and then thereafter released within 20 minutes or so the contents. Yet another example with the fasted state simulated gastric fluid. Again, it has made no difference. The product survived quite well for the first 2 hours in that media, and once we switched it to buffer, it released the contents. With the alcohol test, as I said, no dose dumping. You could see the first 2 hours, it's still intact. But you could also notice that the alcohol reduced the release of the drug. Like we only saw about 40% release, but that's a different issue to deal with. At least our goal here is no dose dumping. That's the expectation from FDA, and we don't see any dose dumping. As I pointed out earlier, it's important for enteric delivery, particularly for pharmaceutical delivery. You don't want them to release them in, say, pH 3 or pH 4. Most of them you want at least beyond 4 and 5 if you really want to protect them. So we designed our soft gels with this technology to withstand pH 3 or 4 or 5 for up to 90 minutes at least. And we even have I didn't show it here, but a variant of this where it stays intact at even pH 6.8 for an hour. That means you could actually use it towards colonic delivery, and we have one project that we are working for a customer. So again, a lot of things could be accomplished with this, with the right design of the shell. And an example of omega fatty acid, how it performed over a 24-month period. And you could see it's stable, it survived, it's intact in acidic stage, and it released the contents at 40-75 within 6 months. 25 minutes, 3 months, 17 minutes, 6 months, 25 minutes in buffer, and 24 months at 25-60, 8 minutes. So not much change, and we also have seen that there is no cross-linking. Typically at 24 months you would see some level of cross-linking with soft gels, but in this case with pectin, it is quite robust. And also, if you see the peroxide and anisodine values, it maintained quite well. It gave solid protection from oxidation. And also, these capsules are thermally very stable. One of the most stable soft gel physical robustness wise to high temperature. I've not seen any other gelatin soft gel as good as the one that is combined with pectin. Yet another example of varying the release. If you have to design something, you could modify the level of pectin to gelatin by changing the ratios. You could change the release profile. This is just one example of that. I also talked about in one of the slides that dual control release, where we are utilizing our delayed release shell with pectin and combining film matrix that is having control release matrix inside. And here is a model drug. In this case example, we used actually ibuprofen as the model drug, and you could see you could achieve any desired profile by modulating the control release film matrix composition to achieve the desired profile. And you could also notice here in the first 2 hours there is almost no release, if that is what you are trying to shoot for. And utilizing this, we actually are working on a project for colonic delivery of a cancer drug. Just to give another example of how you could exploit some of these capabilities with these delayed release capsules. So now I am switching gears, and hope time wise I am doing okay. Okay. All right. Before switching gears, any questions so far? Is it boring? I don't see much reaction. Is it any questions, comments? Now I'm switching to a different technology altogether from the. And this is real, by the way. This is not just a concept or anything. We have a massive program going on right now with the one that you see on the slide here. I'll go into details in a minute, but any questions? You don't have to wait for end of, because I'll be wrapping up my presentation very soon. Okay, you could ask at the end. Okay. So now going into tablet in capsule technology. So for molecules where you are trying to, as I said, patient-centric, this yet another great example of patient-centric, where compliance, if you have to take 2 or 3 different pills, now you combine with some other medications the patient is taking, you have all of a sudden you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 medications one has to take. So how about combining wherever you can combine if it is doable? In this example, we have aspirin, for example, with fish oil, or statin with the fish oil, which is prescription fish oil. When I say fish oil, not just fish oil, but there's at least 2 huge products, prescription RX omega fatty acids. A lot of you may be aware of Lovaza, GSK's product. I think it was Reliance Pharmaceuticals before, or Reliant, that was bought out by GSK. Close to 1 billion capsules we used to make for them. And then Vasepa is the other one that is current, which is a EPA, ethyl ester prescription, which is also a massive product. Right now, think about combining that with the statin, because most people who take fish oil also take statins for majority of the cases. So now if you can combine them together, how about that, right? And there are a few other examples here: heart health, cough and cold, digestive, joint health. So you could focus on candidates where you have 2 or 3 different actives that you are trying to administer, and maybe there's an opportunity to combine them into one. So we did these proof of concept work with up to 6 months of stability. Rosuvastatin, atorvastatin, and aspirin are the examples with fish oil. And here is some stability data. Interestingly, the tablet within the omega, as you could see on the assay, and the purity it's protected much better because it is in a lipophilic medium, and aspirin, as you know, is sensitive to moisture, so that's why it is actually performing better, at least in this case study or example that we have. So here is some dissolution release profiles of rosuvastatin under different conditions. I think I have here up to 3 months at accelerated conditions. There is some slowdown, as you could see at the bottom, like with time, but that could be easily addressable by changing and selecting the right shell composition, but it again has no impact in the enzymatic media. These met the criteria of 80% release within 30 minutes without any issue. And we now have, as I said, a big real project that we are working on using this technology, and more to come on that hopefully in the future. So, in conclusion, soft gel is a very versatile dosage form, and you could design products that with patient focus and patient in mind for any route of delivery. And as I have presented at the beginning, there are multiple products out there already for at least more than half a dozen routes of administration, from topical to oral and everything in between. And as you could also see from other examples of the 13 different variants of the capsules that I presented today, 8 of them have already gone commercial, and several of them are at various stages of development. And stick pack could be combined with soft gels depending on what size and what the intended purpose is. So it could also be looped in together for patient-centric product development and product design. So with that, I think I just want to acknowledge my colleagues who have helped putting these slides together and all the data that they collected. So open for any question answers.
Thank you very much, Karu. Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you. Q&A before the next session. Anybody want to open up questions on Karu's talk, or these topics in general? No questions?
Was it that boring? Okay.
All right, we've got one over here. Thank you.
Make me feel good. Thank you.
Yeah, Karu, thank you so much, for asking, do you have questions? Do you have questions? I have to ask a question. So that's very interesting, the soft gel, you have multiple tablet in the soft gel. So first question, do you have any drug already in clinical trial, or it's already have commercialized? Second question, is the manufacturer very challenging? Because I'm from tri-stack 3D printing, I can consider multiple compartment. You can print multiple compartment tablet to solve the same problem. So that's my 2 questions. Thank you.
So I don't think I understood the first question. As far as did we commercialize any product? No, we have not commercialized anything, but we are making good progress. Hopefully we'll see something come up in the near future. That's one. But this technology, someone else, again, they have their own way of doing, and we do it in our own way. But this product exists in Latin American markets by one of our competitors. It's on the market, commercial.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
What was your other question?
The other question is how is the manufacturing for the tablet in the soft gel? It's very challenging because I think we can, for the tablet, the 3D printing can print a multiple compartment tablet that will do the same, that can function the same as what you have described. Because patient take 5, 6 different drugs, but you can combine them in one, right? In one soft
Yeah,
gel.
sure. Yeah, no, that's a great point. Definitely it is challenging to manufacture, but think about putting an oil or a liquid along with tablet. In the example you gave is you could do multiple tablets, but in the example we are talking here is a liquid in combination with a solid together, right? So it's almost impossible to put 1 gram of fish oil into any other solid dosage form other than soft gel.
Okay, so you also have some liquid
Right,
combination.
right.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you.
Any additional questions, comments? No? Okay, thanks very much, Karu. Thank you.
Thank you.